So if we agree that we all want to be and feel our best in life, what it
That's
takes,
true. That is true. And all of us want to do that.
right? So all it takes is for us to do whatever, no matter what, whatever it takes to feel and be that very best version of ourselves, right? So exercising, eating well, studying, learning, doing things. And etiquette is just one of these tools that allows you to feel, build confidence and feel good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself and you feel comfortable in your own skin, then you can be your very best and give your very best to people.
What's up, what's up? Welcome to Stories 100 podcast. This is your host Ajay Sharma. If you believe your presentation has something to do with how much success you will achieve in your life, then you're going to really enjoy this next podcast. Our next guest, Stefania Dilettoso. She's an etiquette consultant, an entrepreneur, and a success in her own terms. Without further ado, let's welcome Stefania to the podcast and let's get to know more about her journey.
Hey, Stefania, how are you doing today? Welcome to the podcast. It is a pleasure having you with us today. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
All is well, all is well. I'm very excited for this today's episode here. Read a little bit about, we have a mutual friend, Kankana Bakshi, and I'm so glad that she introduced us and, got to know more about your work, what you're doing with being an etiquette consultant, running your website, is Beyond Food. I think what you're doing is really something unique, and I find appreciation for it because I know from my personal experience, I know etiquettes and just presentation or just how you carry yourself has a lot to do with how much success and how much, you achieve in life, right? And that actually matters to so many of us, right? So it's such a great thing to be able to have somebody show us and learn from them. And it's awesome. I mean, that's just awesome. So that's great.
It's good to hear that. Yeah, exactly. No matter what you do in life, it does matter.
It does matter. It does matter. And, and one of the things that comes to my mind all the time is which I think a lot of people forget is like, when you meet somebody for the first time, right? This is like how you, even though we say that we don't make judgments on other people, we actually do have to do that. And we do judge other people, right? Because unless you know somebody personally, right? Like, their personality, how they are, what are you going to go off by? You're going to go off by how they look, how they treat you, how they present themselves, how confident they were. So it's awesome. I mean, you are doing that, and that's just amazing. I mean, you are helping people, be better presenters, have better etiquette. That's awesome.
No, that's exactly right. And that's the first thing that I usually work on with my clients is striking the perfect first impression. Because, yeah, it does matter. People do judge.
Yeah.
It is natural. There's nothing bad about it. It's just normal.
Exactly. So we're going to get to know a little bit more about how you got started with that. But first, I want to kind of start with, okay, so where you grew up, where you from, and, what were your ambitions, growing up? And the reason why I asked that is because I just find that interesting. People start off, like as kids, we start off with things. We have this ideas that we want to like do something that's this, but when in our life, we end up doing something here, right? So it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was born and I grew up in Milan, Italy.
That's awesome. That is beautiful.
Such a beautiful country. I grew up surrounded by so much beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Italy is my definition of art. There is so much art anywhere you go, whether it's a masterpiece from Leonardo da Vinci or fashion brands or design brands or food. For me, food is a form of art for sure. And it's one of my biggest passions indeed.
Italian food is amazing. Just love it. But one of my favorite places to go is Olive Garden.
It is also one of my favorite cuisines, I have to say. And so I grew up there, and what I wanted to be actually as a kid, my dream job was being a reporter for National Geographic.
That's awesome.
Very
Okay, so
interesting.
reporter for National Geographic. So you into nature and like what kind, like specifically, what did you think about?
I've always liked nature and traveling and exploring, and I was always very curious, right? But now looking back, it makes so much sense. And it's always so easy to connect the dots looking backwards, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely. It always is.
yeah, it's just tricky now in the present moment.
I just wish it was going forward like that.
Yeah, exactly. So what makes sense to me is that the point of being a reporter was for me the opportunity to share with people knowledge, and have people, learn about these places, these very cool places and animals and nature, so they could learn through me, right? And so I understood that was something since a young age that was crucial, and it was like a motivation for me. So adding value to people's lives.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. And actually, what do you call it? Whenever I have traveled anywhere like outside, where you normally live, right? Even Miami is a beautiful place to live. I mean, we learn so much here. There's so many things to do here. But every time I've gone to like Europe or other places, I always like learn I just feel different, right? Not just feel different in a way you like the place, you enjoyed it. You actually learn more, you become more open to people, cultures, food. And it just happens so naturally because you're there, you got to try different foods, you meet different people, and it's just an amazing experience. And that's awesome.
Whether you end up liking the place or not, it just makes you richer, because you learn, you open your mind, it makes you grow and experience. It's absolutely priceless, what a trip can give you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the point for me, like teaching people, sharing with people, and then growing up, that's what I did in my career. I at some point I was a yoga instructor, but that's the same thing, teaching and adding value. So when I became an etiquette consultant, that's the same thing. I just changed the career path. But for me, the point of teaching etiquette is to make people better and possibly inspire them, at least,
Exactly. That is awesome. So, when it comes to etiquettes, right? I know, like I shared with you in the beginning, I know it's important, but it's good to hear from you. Like, this is for the audiences, if you haven't like touched into the importance of etiquettes, your presentation, your communication, this maybe I'm going to ask you the question is that why is etiquette so important?
So if we agree that we all want to be and feel our best in life, what it takes.
That is true. And all of us want to do that.
Right. So all it takes is for us to do whatever, no matter what, whatever it takes to feel and be that very best version of ourselves, right? So exercising, eating well, studying, learning, doing things. And etiquette is just one of these tools that allows you to build confidence and feel good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself and you feel comfortable in your own skin, then you can be your very best and give your very best to people. So with etiquette, you just learn how to carry yourself in any given situation, and that allows you not to come across as sophisticated necessarily, but it allows you to feel good about yourself and therefore feel comfortable and relaxed. And when we feel relaxed, we can be ourselves, and there's nothing more beautiful than that.
No, that's I love how you put that. That is so nice. That is so nice. And you're absolutely correct. It's about feeling very, very comfortable with yourself and feeling confident. When you're confident, you feel comfortable. And when you're feeling comfortable, you feel confident, right? Kind of builds upon itself, right? So that's what it is. And yeah, I mean, in any type of setting, like you said, if you want to be better, and this is just my example that I can think of, if you want to be better in business, you want to be better with people, you want to be better in your career, you want to be better in anything you are, you're, maybe publishing content on social media, anything. Etiquettes is just maybe a proper word for saying how do you actually present yourself so that you are presenting the best version of yourself, and not only to the outside world, it's actually coming from within.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It starts from yourself. You're doing this for yourself, not just to come across in a certain way that it's just a facade. You're doing this for yourself.
Exactly. No, true that. Like you said, it's about, if you want to, be the best version of yourself, it's almost necessary, right? So that's awesome. So for you becoming an etiquette consultant, like when did you make that decision that, okay, this is what I want to do? I know you said, you were doing yoga, and then how did you venture off into doing this?
Well, I was involved in the fine dining industry, and I was reviewing Michelin star restaurants. So I was always dining at these beautiful restaurants in this beautiful upscale settings. And as I was looking around me, I would notice that although the setting was upscale and people were lacking basic table manners. And I noticed that, not in a judgmental way, absolutely, but I noticed that and I was like, there's some potential there, because it means that I can maybe help people somehow. That's what I thought. And from there, I started talking about this with my friends, and my friends were like, oh yeah, you're naturally so elegant and sophisticated. You can really inspire a lot of people. And at the beginning, I didn't really believe in that, but then I just tried a little bit, little by little, and I started investigating, and I learned that there is a certification that you take in order to teach people, to train people. You can train companies on business etiquette. You can train diplomats or private clients on table manners or whatever. It's very broad, and that's why I find it to be very interesting. So that's how it really started. I thought that I had already a lot of knowledge, probably because of the school I attended as a kid and the way that I was brought up. So I was like, okay, what can I do with this knowledge that I had, with this, how can I add value to people's lives? Let's do something about it. And then
that is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, that's something that, even thinking through that and having that courage to follow through and say, this is what I want to do and I want to add to people's life. I think people who actually do that, because obviously, through the podcast, I get to meet a lot of people, and that's how most successful people are, because they're actually doing something that they enjoy doing. And when I've seen your videos online on Instagram, I think it's pretty nice. I mean, how you present it, you actually make it entertaining as well. I saw you one where you were, was it egg that you were flipping? that was.
I want to keep it funny. You know why? Because first of all, that's my personality, and also because people still perceive etiquette as something uptight and
yeah. You know what? And you actually break that, and you actually show that in a different light, and it's awesome, and it's refreshing to see that.
That's a great feedback.
And I think a lot of people, the reason why they actually feel uptight about it is because this is what I could think of. When we are in school and, growing up, you do get some, wherever school you go, you do get some lessons on etiquette, right? You should do this. You should be proper. You should do this, right? And a lot of times, when we grow up, we people don't like to be told that you should do this, you should do this. And that's where, if it was taught a little bit differently, like how you make it interesting to watch your videos, it actually comes across differently, and it has a lot more value and a lot more engagement to it. That's awesome.
No, but you totally nailed it, because the comments that I receive the most are like, oh, nobody should tell me what to do. So I get it. That's exactly the point. And the thing is that nobody's telling you what to do. This is just content, information for you to take and then decide. At least you learn. I believe that you want to know about as much as possible in life, and then you decide whether you want to,
how much of it you use and apply into your life.
It's so important to know about.
Right on. That is, I love how you put that. That's how I feel as well. It's like, you get so much information from YouTube, Instagram, and all that, and then you adapt from picking up pieces of it, and you become a better version of yourself.
Yeah, you take with you whatever resonates with you, whatever you need in that very moment,
That's awesome. So, so what you're doing is obviously your passion. Like, I mean, I see that in your videos, I see that on your site, and I really enjoyed reading the about column on your website, and you shared something personal about, you growing up, about you had shared a story about your mom and dad, how they cooked on over the weekends, and you used to watch them. That was very nice. I found that very nice to just read that. And going from that, and then building upon being an etiquette consultant, it's a passionate work, right? And a lot of times when you do something passionate in your life, right, you go through difficulties. Like your mind will tell you, why are you qualified to do this? Or you have 20 other things that go through your mind. You start to doubt yourself. Did that ever happen, some of those things? Or not exactly that, but then if it did, like, how did you overcome that? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because most people stop at that point, right? Even though they have these gifts and talents, things that they're passionate about, right? But they won't follow through, because I get that myself too. Like, when you want to do something, when I started this podcast, I was the same thing. Anything that I've become successful at in my life, I always have 10 things in my mind where I create doubt, right? It happens to so many of us. But if you, so many times listening from, the reason why I ask my guests is that sometimes when you listen to other people that they've been through that difficulty and they overcame that, and look at where they are today. I mean, you're successful, you have a lot of following on Instagram, and you're doing well, you're offering courses. What was that point where you said, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through it? And were there any challenges along the way that came into that process?
Okay, so I hope that what I'm about to say will help someone or inspire someone, because first of all, I doubt myself every single day. So I think that and it's good, when you doubt yourself, it means that you're asking yourself, that you're like open to possibilities. So I see it as a good thing, and oftentimes I believe that when we stop ourselves from something, from, achieving something, it's just because we see that very thing that we want to achieve as huge, and it's scary, you're like, oh my God, where am I supposed to start from? And what I found to be very helpful, effective, is to just start from something and break down the steps.
Exactly.
Little tiny steps, baby steps, and just start. And don't think about the end goal. Just think about, well, of course you want to have a plan, right? But just take one step at a time and see how you feel about it. Because maybe it is not even what you want. Because the thing is that with time, our goals, our objectives change also. So you also have to constantly ask yourself, if this is exactly what you want, how do you feel about it? Because I don't like to talk about passion necessarily. You always hear people say, oh, you have to do what you love, you have to follow your passion, which is absolutely true. But that became such a huge concept that it's scary. I don't know, it's just, for me, it's just
some people overcomplicate it.
Complicated, and I prefer to say, okay, what does resonate with me? What is that makes sense with who I am? What is that makes me feel good? That when I do it, it makes total sense with who I am. I am more about this.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, I really like how you put that. Basically, what you're saying is just that don't overthink about it, because overthinking is an issue for so many of us, right? And you could conceptualize this passion concept all day, right? And trying to figure it out. Instead of that, execution, like doing something, right, beats the overthinking, the strategizing, like any day, right? And what you're saying is that start taking baby steps, right? And then from there, you'll figure out where you settle into anyways, right?
And then things unfold almost magically,
Yeah. And I like how you shared that, it's not just about that one thing that you're passionate about. It could be that from moment to moment, how you feel about things, you develop yourself into something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you're saying, is that you develop yourself into something. And instead of just thinking about it, do the work, put in the work, and then you eventually get to where you will end up anyways.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
Yes, for sure.
That is awesome. So, through your website, through your work, you offer courses, right? And I know that you do a private coaching, and you also do online courses as well. I'm gonna talk a little bit. I want to learn a little bit more about both of them, because I think this is something that could truly help people. Especially for the online version, because it's the convenience of it, right? You can just take the course online, and you could probably do it on your own convenience. So can you talk a little bit about the different courses you offer, online or private, right? And then what are some of the benefits of it, and how can one enroll?
Right. So all of my courses are customized. So whether it's for a training for a small company or a private course for an individual, I would have a conversation and listen to your needs, your objectives, and why you would like to start this journey. So from there, we build something that is just for you. And it can be online or in person. Obviously, in person, it's a better experience. But online, you can absolutely, nowadays you can learn anything online. So there's nothing that...
Yeah, and it's convenient too. Yeah. And plus, I mean, if you really like somebody, if somebody really likes and want to take your course, they could perhaps take it from anywhere in the world, India, Europe, South Africa, anywhere, or South America, anywhere. That's awesome.
That's the bright side of technology, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it really just depends on what it is that you're looking for. So something that is very popular, obviously, it's dining etiquette, because we are all interested in table manners. But not necessarily. It can be, I've worked a lot with girls seeking fashion, and how to present yourself, how to properly dress themselves, and in different social setting or business etiquette. So it's very broad, and it depends on what you're doing on yourself and what you do in life.
Awesome. What I also saw on your site is just that some of the courses, I think this is something that could perhaps help a lot of people get started. And a reason why I say this is because I saw a lot of value in over my life, just changing my presentation communication, how it has helped me out. So I know some of your courses are free, right? And I think the reason why I want to point that out is just that you can take a course and get started for free. If you like the idea, which I think you will like the idea of presenting yourself better. You get started with the idea, see how you feel about it, right? And from there you build upon taking a proper course and all of that. So what are some of the courses that you offer for free on your site?
So it would be about business etiquette, a dining etiquette, and that's a good point actually, because people at least can have a little bit of a can see what it's all about, and maybe they get inspired and they get more intrigued, and from there they start, right? And that's also the reason why I have a presence on social media, because I want people to first of all see me and see a little bit how I am, how I work, my vibration, my energy. And maybe from there they feel more
connect with that,
connected and more intrigued.
And true, that is awesome. And and I know you have a course on the social media etiquettes as well,
yes.
which is nice. That's good. So through your courses, through your students from the past, right? What are some of the things that they have shared where it benefited them, that this is how I found value out of it? Can you share maybe an example or two?
Well, the most common feedback is about dining etiquette. When people come to you and they're like, I will never forget this tip that you gave me. I will remember this for the rest of my life. Every time I'm dining, I'm thinking of you, and this makes me crack up.
And I could see that. Literally, if you learn something, you're gonna go apply it. And every time you sit on the table next time, you're gonna say, you know what? Instead of holding the fork on the right, you actually hold it on the left. Yeah.
Exactly. So every time I hear feedback or how they are using what they have learned, that is absolutely valuable for me, and it makes me so happy.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So what is some of the moments that make you feel proud, like as far as whether it's through your passion about, being an etiquette consultant, or through your work or helping other people achieve, become better presenters in life, better communicators, or have better etiquettes? You maybe share maybe one or two of those.
Yeah, to be honest with you, what makes me feel proud of myself and makes me at the same time feel motivated is when I see that somehow I'm inspiring people, and especially young girls that for some reason they see in me something, and it makes me so happy when I can inspire them, guide them. Sometimes I would have Zoom calls with girls that from different cities and different countries, and just quick calls, conversations, because they're seeking some kind of guidance. And it flatters me so much. That makes me feel so empowered and so good about myself, because again, I am adding value to someone's life.
And you know what it is, on that note, that is awesome. On that note, that is how I feel about my work as well. Like sometimes like you do a podcast or you do like a motivational tape, right? That's I would release a reel or post a video online, and and sometimes people like actually write a comment to you and say, this is how it helped me in this situation. It's like the fulfillment that you get out of that is just so awesome. And that's the same thing with your work as well. You're actually making lives better of people, like through presentation, through etiquettes. That's awesome. And it is so fulfilling too. Like, you're doing your passion, but then when you get the feedback from other people, that's what keeps you going.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
That's awesome. So what is next for you? Like, as far as, how does success look like, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? Like, what are you building this, into this? I know you're running a business, It's Beyond Food, the blog and the Instagram and all that. Where would you, like to go?
It's a very interesting question, especially now. I am currently asking myself, so what is success for me? Because I believe that the definition of success changes over time. It's not the same. If you think about your life 5 years ago, 10 years ago, was success the same thing? Did you have the same objectives? Were you the same person? You weren't. So I think that we have to constantly ask ourselves, what is that how do we see ourselves? What is that we want to achieve, and why, according to who we are now in this very moment. And so I'm currently asking myself these questions, and I have different businesses other than etiquette. So I have a startup in the technology industry, and then I work as a restaurant consultant. So I am building multiple things at the same time, which is overwhelming. It's scary, but by the same token, it's very exciting and very motivating. So where do I see myself? I don't know. Everything seems so uncertain. And that's again the self-doubt that arises. But I don't want that to overpower me. I just want to stay open and curious about life, because curiosity leads you to opportunities. So I definitely want to grow my etiquette business and build something more complete, more of a stable business. So I'm in this phase where I'm like strategizing and seeing how I can go about this. And then at the same time, I need to grow my startup business in the technology field. It's an app. It's a marketplace that connects chefs with clients for dining experience at their house. And then continue.
That is awesome. I didn't know about that. Otherwise, I would have prepared some questions around that. That is awesome. If you want to share a little bit more about that, that way you can share it with the viewers and audiences.
A completely different business and experience, and therefore completely different challenges, which is a lot to take, but at the same time, you learn a lot. So I'm just grateful. I'm not complaining. It's my first experience as an entrepreneur, so I'm constantly learning and making mistakes and figuring things out as I go.
That is
put it. So everything to me seems exciting, although a little bit uncertain, but we will see. So I invite you all to stay tuned and follow me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, and what I'm kind of sensing out of based on what you're saying is just that even though even though it's uncertain, you actually end up enjoying a little bit of that as well. And what I have actually observed, working with a lot of either through my career or through the podcast, the people that I learn a lot from, interviewing you, I picked up a few things myself as well, is that uncertainty is just part of life, right? And the more you get used to that, the more you get comfortable with that, the higher up you go. The problem is just that generally as humans, we don't like uncertainty, right? We like to know things, like where we are going in life, where our business is going, where our career is going, right? But it's very hard to actually get that. And the more you actually get comfortable with being uncertain, the more you actually propel into building your success quicker, because you're not actually kind of stuck with this idea that things have to be certain and then I will grow. And then you actually grow through uncertainty to build yourself.
That's a great point. And you said become comfortable with being uncertain. And how do you achieve that? Because I'm constantly working on that. And in my opinion, how do you, in order for you to feel comfortable with uncertainty, is to build, to strengthen your trust. If you trust in yourself, if you trust in the magic of life, and you trust that everything will unfold and perfectly for you, then you will be fine and okay with uncertainties and changes.
Got it. Irregardless of going through challenges and problems and difficulties, trust forward.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's something that I used to be one of those people, like that I would want certainty. I like a certain schedule in life, right? And that's just basic human nature, right? And the more I have started to get comfortable with that, I'm trying my best, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to give it my best, and then if things work out, that's great. If they don't, then I'm going to pivot, change my approach, and then eventually I'll still get, maybe not here, somewhere else, whatever it is, I will still be okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. But the feeling of certainty also, it is very important, I feel, because it gives us some sort of safety, which we need to feel. And I try to find that in the small little things in my daily life. Very simple things, even just going for a walk, which is like my routine in the morning, or having a cup of coffee every morning, like all those little things that you can incorporate in your routine, that can give you a sense of certainty and safety. But then it is important that we learn and understand truly that change is the only constant in life.
That is true. It's hard to deal with, but it is certain. Change is certain.
That's the only third, exactly.
The change is certain. Well, you know what? It was a pleasure having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us. So just a note to the viewers and the listeners. So you can follow Stefania's work at itsbeyondfood.com. I'm going to also post the link when the podcast gets released. And also you can follow her Instagram page as well. She has a lot of followers. Her work is amazing. And I'm sure you will find it enjoyable. And it's a pleasure having you on the podcast today. Anything else you want to share, add, please feel free, go right ahead.
Thank you. I think we had a very nice conversation, and I'm very positive that a lot of people will feel inspired by this, and they will take at least one little sentence with them, and that's all that matters to us, right?
Yeah, change is constant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.